RhymBil is now online. Hey guys and girls, today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about objects in JavaScript. Let's go! Alright, so here I have a simple HTML page, but it only has a script, nothing else. And to my right, I have my console.log. I extruded the console.log window. Alright. Okay, so I want you to picture this. You are an array, and the object is the guy they told you not to worry about. You want to know why? Because an object is way better. In order to make an object, you basically want to set a variable. So here we have var rhymbilyt is going to be equal to curly brackets. And this is the basic format for an object. The first property is going to be a shirt. Our shirt is going to be equal to a string value, which is just supreme. And when you have multiple properties in an object, you want to separate them by commas, not semicolons. This is the same as arrays. You separate them by commas, not anything else. Awesome. A key thing to know here is when we have an object, the last property in our object doesn't have a comma at the end. This is because commas separate properties, but since there's no property at the end, we don't need a comma. So let's go ahead and display our object in our console. If you have actual HTML elements, you can also set the inner HTML to the object. So if we save what we have, go to our console, refresh, now you can see it's logging out our object. And you can see it has this really nice look that just looks super complicated, but it's not. So what if we wanted to get a property from our object? So let's say we want to get the shirt value. In order to do this, we can just say rhymbilyt dot shirt, and this is going to print out the value of our shirt. And now we can see the value of our shirt is supreme. And you could do this with any property you have in your object, which is awesome. And this is way better than using arrays where you have to find the index of stuff and then count from 0, 1, 2, 3. That's why I said objects are way better. Okay, so speaking of arrays, if we wanted to get all the values in the properties like Supreme, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and Balenciagas all in array format, all we have to do is pass in object.values and then pass in our rhymbilyt. And now it's going to print out all our values, not the keys. It's going to print out all the values in array format. So that way, if you really like arrays, you can just use these values and iterate through them and stuff. So now that we can get the values, how do we get the keys? Which is our shirt, our pants, our belt, and shoes. How can we know the properties our object has? In order to do this, we can pass in object.keys and then just slide in our rhymbilyt. And this is going to put in array format all the property keys that we have. Okay, so how do we add values to objects? So let's say I wanted to add a watch to my drip. To do this, we go below our object and type in rhymbil.watch, which is the attribute we want to add in. And then we say it's equal to Rolex. And now we added a property, which is our watch, and we're setting the value to Rolex. Now if we console.log this, we should see our object, and now it's putting in our watch, which is awesome. So now we can add values to our object. Likewise, how do we delete values from our object? Well, this is simple. If we type in delete, then space, rhymbilyt dot, let's get rid of the shoes. And now when we save and refresh our console, you should now see we get everything in our object except our shoes, because we deleted them. Nice. Okay, so now we're done with that. The last thing we want to talk about is how to add objects into objects. This comes in handy because our shoes only hold the value Balenciagas. What if we wanted to add a price to this value? So here we would create an object in our shoes, and we would set the type of shoes to Balenciagas, and then have a second property, which is our price, and set this equal to like 90K, some small. To access the properties of an object in an object, what we do is we type in rhymbilyt dot shoes dot, and here we can pass in either type or price. Let's go with type first. Okay, so let's go ahead and convert everything we have in our object to objects. So this way we can create a function later on to add the total price of everything so we can get the total cost of my drip. So let's go ahead and collapse all these objects. And depending on what IDE you're using, this might look different. And now we can focus on our total price. So we're gonna set our total price is gonna be equal to a function. I bet you've never seen this before. So we're gonna call a function using an object. And this function is just gonna take the price of everything and then add them up. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and change the prices from string to integers or floats, depending on if you have decimals or not. So in our function, what we need to type in is this.shirt.price. What this does is this represents the object we're in, and we're going in our shirt property, and then we're going in our price property. And then we just need to do this a couple more times, changing shirt to pants, pants to belts, belts to shoes. And then we're going to return this value. So we're going to talk about returning values in another video, but what this does, it returns the value whenever we call this function. So down below in our console.log, we're going to say rhymbil drip.total price, and then we can see we get an error. Of course we get an error. And this is because we need to remove the commas from our total price because it's not a string anymore. Go ahead and do that. Now if we save, go back to our console, refresh, you should see it working. Okay, so now you see it logging out our function as if it was a string. Well, this is because in our console.log, we actually call this as a function. So we say dot total price, and then we add the brackets. Awesome. So now if we save, go back to our console, refresh, now we can see our prices being laid out with spaces in between. This is great. So now let's actually get the real value of our total price. So let's go back, remove the spaces, and now let's just add them up. Now when we save, go back and refresh, congratulations, you can see your total price of your drip. Alright, so today I showed you the basics for starting objects in JavaScript. And until next time, RhymBil out.